Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. You're listening to episode number 112. I'm Victoria Gallagher, Law of Attraction hypnotist and #1 best-selling author of Practical Law of Attraction, Align Yourself with the Manifesting Conditions and Successfully Attract Your Desires. I'm also the founder of HipTalk.com and HypnoCloud apps, which gives you access to over 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. So be sure to download the app from the app stores. And you may notice that I'm working on I'm a little self-conscious today about my voice because today I might be being monitored. You never know. Today I have a very special guest with me, Cynthia Zhai. Cynthia is a voice coach, professional speaker, CSP, and best-selling author. She's written Influence Through Voice, Unleash Your Voice, and Hear the Wisdom in Your Voice for personal and professional growth. She's also a TEDx speaker. She has helped professionals from 46 countries across 6 continents to speak with authentic and powerful voices so that they can live a more fulfilling life. And by helping them with their voices, Cynthia helps people to break through the old patterns so that they can live more fully. She can be found at her website, www.powerfulexecutivevoice.com, or on her YouTube channel, which is Cynthia Zhai, which is Cynthia, and the last name is spelled Zhai. And so today, Cynthia is going to be sharing some of her insights on the transformation the transformation of your powerful voice, the power in your voice. So welcome to the show, Cynthia.
Thank you, Victoria. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you. As somebody who grew up, well, pretty much from the 2nd grade, I had a love for singing, and I still do to this day. And then, of course, I ended up doing something that very much works with my voice, making these powerful hypnosis recordings and, doing public speaking, doing the hypnosis recordings, creating audio books. This is definitely something that I am sure that many, many people are listening to my voice. So it's important. It's important to hear what you have to say today about how we can make our voice even more powerful and authentic.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
So thank you so much for being here. So as a voice coach, let's just get right into it. Well, how did you get involved in being a voice coach to begin with? How did that all start?
I was, in my school days, I was also in singing and I was performing, but those experiences didn't give me any indication that I'm going to be a voice coach. It was in my very first job after graduation from school, I was not assertive. And so I was looking for different ways to become more assertive. And voice was one of the training programs that I was attending. And through all these different programs, especially the voice program, I realized that I have, even though I had singing background, but there was still potential in my speaking voice. And that's where I started to experience the power of the voice in me. And so again, I went for another job because I thought I was going to work for other people. And until in my last job, and I started to realize that, I want to do something on my own. And there were also people asking me, how do I improve my voice? And then I realized, not only that I've learned these things, I'm good at it, but also this is something people are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So there I was.
There you are. How long have you been a voice coach?
10.5 years.
Nice, nice. And that's what you do exclusively. So it must be interesting because it's something that everyone uses. I mean, every single person that you interact with is using their voice. So, you must hear and almost just be able to like pick up on things that are going on with a person whenever you have a conversation just from a different aspect.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I
who do
did.
you normally help who normally seeks you out?
They are the first group because they always give presentations. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where they realize, oh, there's something that I need to work on about
Mm-hmm.
my voice. And many of them, they have worked on all the other programs, like, for example, presentation training programs. Some even work on image consulting, but they never spend much time or energy working on their voices. So that's the first group, people who give all kinds of presentations, including lawyers. So I have many lawyer clients as well because they need to speak in court. The second group, they are the C-suites, the senior executives. They worked on leadership training, but not on their voices. And because they need to speak to their team members all day, every day, so then they realize, oh, I need to work on my voice. And the third group, they are speakers, professional speakers or aspiring speakers. And they realize in order to have more impact, I need to work on my voice. There are also, of course, entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs, they need to give presentations as well to get business. So those are the four general groups that I help with.
Right. So mostly business professionals, not, does anybody on a personal level come to you? Like, because you had mentioned maybe you had some issues with being assertive. So what if a person is just, they're not necessarily needing it for their business, but, maybe just as a way to improve themselves, on some other level.
Yes, so more or less that they realize these problems in their
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why that they thought, oh, this is going to be helpful for my professional life. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, when they were sharing with me, these are always affecting all areas. So in the beginning, maybe they came for professional purpose. But as they started to work on their voices, they also are aware that, oh, these problems are also affecting me personally. So for example, there was one client, he was not heard at work, in professional settings. And then of course, he was not well heard at home as well.
Interesting. Now,
Yeah.
kind of like a handwriting analysis. This just came to me. The questions. This is what you do is so interesting. So I just have a lot of questions organically, just that are coming. So, like like a handwriting analysis, they can take a look at somebody's handwriting and figure out what's going on. Are there certain key elements like tone or pitch or volume that based on how a person speaks or how they're using their voice, I mean, can
Mm.
you like almost read that person, like what's going on with them? Can you kind of like analyze what's going on with them, like if they have a high pitched voice or if they have a very breathy voice, or and these are things I always pick up on. I don't know why they speak the way that they do, but I will notice sometimes, like a waitress will come to our table and she's got a very high pitched voice and she sounds
Yeah.
kind of like a baby. And I always think she stunted her growth at 8 years old. That's a little story I make up about that. So maybe there's, you could speak to
Yes. Yes.
that.
So our voice does say a lot about ourselves. Including, so when I listen to the voices, it's always what stands out first. For example, if someone, like what you described, that their voice pitch is very high, then that will stand out first. So for example, there are also both men and women. So there are also men who speak with a very high-pitched voice. So when he's talking to me, the pitch will stand out right away. So that's one thing. What stands out first? It could be the pitch. It could be, for example, this person speaks very fast. It could also be that they speak with a lot of force, like what I'm demonstrating now.
Mm-hmm.
So once that's the first thing that I noticed. And then after that is the voice quality, which is the timbre
Mm-hmm.
or the timbre of the voice that I'm listening to. So whether this voice is, the quality is soft, not necessarily the volume. So the quality is soft, or the quality is with more breath, or withholding breath when they're speaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So those are the things that I listen to. And all these problems, they do tell a lot of stories about each person.
Right. And I've also one of the voice qualities that it actually is just one that kind of drives me crazy, because I'm very auditory when it comes to listening and having conversation with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I speak with a full I speak with a full voice, and I feel like I'm very aware of my voice, but I will notice that and especially it seems like lately because I think people's personality, the environment kind of has changed, and so the way that people speak has changed.
Yes.
And I think you learn how to speak, and you learn things, you pick up habits from hearing other people talk. And so I've noticed, as of late, there's a lot of people that don't speak with their full voice. They kind of it's like a lazy tone, and they sort of have that. And so like, do you notice things like that? And like, do you pick up on that? And do you know what that means about them, or does it mean anything about them?
Yeah. So it could be many reasons that they're speaking in that way. For example, if someone is now, of course, that our modern society does have an impact on the general public. So almost everyone, especially those in big cities. So you
Mm-hmm.
hear that in big cities, people are speaking very fast with a very
Mm-hmm.
high-pitched voice,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the times they are not really using their breath to support their voices, and then they're speaking in this way. And so this is the influence of from the society, the social influence. And of course, that we also have individual different voices. It can come from their family background. It can come
Mm-hmm.
from their educational background. It can also come from that who they associate themselves with. So all these, they can all have an influence in their voices. And at the same time, that when we're listening to the voices, we can form a few different possible reasons why they have that voice.
Yeah. So what is the importance of having a powerful voice? Why would somebody even be concerned about how how their voice is?
Yeah. The very first reason is for their work. So most of the times that when they came to me, the first reason they came is for their work. And then actually I realized as I started to work with them is they are not fulfilled, not only with their work, but also with some aspects of their lives. So I would
Right.
say that why do we need to have a powerful voice is not only for professional reasons, but also at the same time, if you want to live a more fulfilling life, then you want to have a more powerful voice. Because if you don't have a powerful voice, the direct impact is that you're not being heard in all situations. And the other thing that most people didn't realize is that when we are not developing our voice fully, we are not connecting with ourselves. So when we're not connecting with ourselves, then you cannot expect that you are connected with other people when you're speaking. So that's why we see so many people when they're speaking with other people, they look preoccupied, and they
Mm-hmm.
are preoccupied. So that's why that you don't build deeper relationship with other people. And then in turn, it will affect you once more that you're not connected with other people. And it
Right.
boils
Because
down to you're not connected with yourself.
Right. Because your voice, what I'm hearing you say, your voice has the power. I mean, the words have some power, but the voice itself, how you say it, how you speak, how you sound, the inflection, the power, the strength, the tone, the pitch, all of that, it's going to directly influence somebody. And I'm going to say, just as a hypnotist,
Mhm.
that these are things that a person is, it's even more powerful than what you're saying, because these are things that are influencing a person under the surface. They don't know why they feel the way that they do, whether it's good or bad, but there's something in that person's voice, I'm imagining, that is, influencing them one way or another.
Yes, yeah, because not only the tone, the inflection, but also the vibration, because
Mm-hmm.
voice is vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And when your voice is not fully developed, then the vibrational frequency you are sending out is not going to be optimized.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why sometimes when someone speaks, we just feel that either uncomfortable, but we didn't know why. It was because that the way they're speaking, the voice is sending out a certain frequency that's not comfortable physically.
Oh, that
And they
makes
are,
so much sense. Yeah, like basically if you have, maybe if you're lying and you're not telling the truth, you're probably there, there's that lying is stressful. It creates tension in the body. And so when you create that tension in the body, your throat's constricted, and so the vibration, the energy that's coming out is not going to be solid. There's going to be a little bit of friction in there. Am I right?
yes, that's right. So that's one example.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
And of
So
course,
in Go
yeah,
ahead.
and of course, we saw people with a very high pitched voice. We immediately feel uncomfortable physically.
Now, why is that? What is it about the high pitched voice that makes a person feel a little bit ill at ease?
There could be, for example, in their family, probably that's how their mom, their dad speaks. So they were affected. It could
Mm-hmm.
also be that they are living in an environment where it's always hyper tense. So then over time, they formed that kind of voice. So this will be
Mm.
helpful if you can hypnotize them to go back to their childhood to see what happened that made that voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Oh, that's a really, yeah, you could even make the voice like in parts therapy. You can take the voice out and you could have a conversation with the voice and ask, where did you get your tone? Where did this come from? When did you first begin to speak like that? And then what, you could resolve that. They could come out of hypnosis with an entirely different speaking tone and voice. Yeah, that's good. So in your work, you've noticed that, the voice problems are often a reflection of some mental and emotional blocks
Yes.
that they're holding on to. Tell us
Yeah.
more about that.
Yeah. So just now we had one voice example, which is that they are speaking in this way, that they're not really using their breath.
Hmm.
And so this can be a reflection of some mental blocks. For example, they are they don't think that what they're going to say is important. So over time, that became a pattern in the way they're speaking. So when they're speaking, because they don't think what they're speaking is important, so then they're not really projecting their voices, and they're just going to hold their breath and speak. And over time, this becomes a habit.
Hmm.
Uh,
Let me ask you this because, so I've had some clients that speak with a very meek tone, and they also have confidence issues,
mhm.
which makes sense because of what you're saying. Could you Are you basically saying that you could fix the confidence issues by changing your vocal tone and how you talk? I mean, what could that,
Yes,
or, I mean, if you fix the confidence issue, it would probably fix the voice, but if you fix the voice, would that fix the confidence?
yes, yes. So we know that mind and body are one.
Mm-hmm.
So the mind, the confidence is in the mind. So it's a mental issue, and voice is body. Voice is very physical. We mentioned that voice is vibration, and this vibration is something physical that people can feel. When we are developing the voice, we are optimizing the vibration. So when there's more vibration, fuller vibration in your body, it will affect your mind. So many of my clients, when they develop their full voice, I can see that they're glowing. And some of them, they told me, they said, I don't know what, I just feel good.
That's wonderful. I love
Yeah,
it. I love it. This is really interesting. This is really, really good stuff. I'm glad we're having this conversation. All right, so
yeah,
this is where I'm going to get maybe a little on the woo-woo side, and because some people that listen to my show, maybe they know about the chakras, because of it's very connected in a way to some of the spiritual stuff that we do here with hypnosis, meditation, and
yes,
some people might find it a little woo woo, but I don't know. Do you delve into the chakra system? Because the throat, is the sixth chakra. So do you get
yes,
involved in any chakra clearing, or do you talk about the chakras with your clients?
yes,
Like, tell us a
yeah.
little bit about that.
So I talk about that, uh, but I often refer them to some experts who are in clearing the chakra energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the two biggest chakra blocks that I saw in my clients, one is the throat chakra. So when they have throat chakra problems, they would often experience sore throat without speaking for long hours. So most
Mm-hmm.
people experience sore throat is because they speak for long hours. But for some of my clients, they don't know why. They just experience sore throat a lot of times. So that is often the problem of the throat chakra. And the throat chakra problems could be that you have an opinion, but you never say it.
Mm-hmm.
And you are not speaking up for yourself. You're not speaking out your ideas. You're always holding your words. You're always eating your words. So I will always point out to them. And what I can do is to teach them ways to speak up for themselves, to speak out.
Mm-hmm.
And but to completely clear that energy, I would often refer them to other experts. So that's
Great.
one chakra problem. The other one is the heart chakra.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my clients, when they were not able to really express who they are authentically, that's one of the heart chakra problems. And the other one is that they were not even get in touch with their heart. And this is very common because nowadays most people are living with a shield,
Uh-huh.
and they're not really, not only they're not able to express themselves authentically, but also that they were not even feel. They have blocked themselves from feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the two biggest chakra problems I saw.
I said, you know what? I said that wrong. I said it was the sixth chakra. I'm correcting myself. It's the fifth chakra. I just kind of went through. I heard
Yeah,
what you were saying, and then, but for some reason, it just came to me that it was the fifth chakra because I was thinking about the third eye and then the crown.
yes.
So, keeping what you said in mind, they're not speaking from maybe their heart
Mm-hmm.
chakra. Maybe they are just kind of they're stuck in their head, and so they're
Yeah,
not connecting to their heart and coming from their authentic voice.
yeah. And they didn't even know how to speak with hard feelings.
Hmm.
That's why that we see so many people speaking in a very logical way, logical, rational way.
See, I can relate to that. It's interesting that we're having this conversation because I'm a very I don't know I don't know if I speak from my heart very often. You know, I mean sometimes I do, but I feel like I spend most of the time in my head.
That's the social influence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So all right. So what would you say are some of the techniques that people could use to get better at speaking? I mean, I guess let me back up from that. Are there always like these deeper internal issues or mental issues, or could it just be bad habits, or could it be just that they never really learned how to use their voice? And so, you know, it is, how often is it that there's a deeper issue that somebody doesn't know about?
Okay. Um, there is something that people have learned, or there are many things people have learned. And for example, the default voice most people are having should be a voice that's not full. That's not
Mm-hmm.
full, which means that from the full body. That's the default voice because that
Mm,
as a human being, as long as we're living in this planet, then we've learned the wrong way of breathing, the wrong habit of breathing. We've learned how to tense ourselves up. And so all these bad habits that those are the things that we've learned from the society, from our conditioning. And so that's something that we can solve, or we can so-called fix.
mm-hmm.
We can change.
Mm-hmm.
And there is most people are not aware, but there is always a deeper reason why they are speaking the way they're speaking.
Interesting.
So for example,
Interesting.
even just speaking with a monotone, that is
Mm-hmm.
not just that because they couldn't express themselves. There is a deeper reason. It may be that they have been living in a family where no one expresses their feelings. And then over
Right.
time that they've they formed that kind of habit as well.
Interesting. Okay, so there's always some reason why they've chosen, I mean, why they got into that habit of speaking the way that they did,
Yes.
whether it's fast or slow, whether it's high pitched or low pitched, whether it's monotone, or what would be the opposite, you know, more colorful
Yes.
way of
Too
speaking,
expressive.
more
Too
expressive. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. So we've been having a conversation now for roughly 25 minutes or so. So
Yes.
do you pick up on any quirks or any interesting things about my voice since we've been talking? Like, and just lay it on me if there's anything you've noticed, like lay it on me, because I would love to get better. I've always looking to improve, even though I believe I have a pretty good voice. I get paid for my voice, so it must be doing something right. But hey, you know, what have you picked up on during our conversation?
um, I would say that in terms of the voice quality, I hear that voice quality is quite tender.
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 Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, for example, if people are listening right now, they will hear that the voice quality between two of us, they are different.
Mm-hmm.
So, for my voice, it's more probably more groundedness. For
Mm.
you, there is this tenderness,
Okay.
and this tenderness is also probably something that you can discover even more potential. The tenderness could also be helping you in many ways, uh, with a lot of benefits. So you have the, even though you probably have noticed yourself being rational or logical, but when the voice is tender, the quality is tender, that means that you have lots of potential about expressiveness.
Okay.
So
So
in my yeah,
it's like a warmth, maybe, that it's like people might hear, like when you say tender, I go to, like, I think warm and caring.
yes, warm and caring, and some or even a little bit sweet.
Sweet. Hmm.
Yes.
Maybe in like aiming to please, because that's the thing. I'm always in my hypnosis sessions with people, meditations. Obviously, I want to come across. Sometimes I do shift between a kind of a mix of being warm and caring and tender and wanting to please them, wanting them to have the whatever it is that they are wanting to get out of the meditation. But then I
Mhm.
also kind of get into a little bit of an authoritative, commanding way of speaking, not necessarily my voice, but in my pronunciations.
Mm, yes, and tone probably
You
as well.
want that to happen.
Yes, yes.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Well, cool. I got my little voice analysis for the day. That'll be so. All right. So once a person has worked with you and they've discovered that there are some issues that they can resolve in their voice, a couple other questions I
Mhm,
have. How long do they normally work with you for?
mhm. So to work on the full voice, we usually take at least about 6 months.
Mm.
So in the 6 months, everything that they are learning needs to become a habit
Hmm.
because we have a default voice which has a lot of wrong habits. So we need to break those old habits and form new habits.
Yeah, I would imagine that just the way you speak, you're going to easily, unless you're paying attention to it
Yes,
24/7, it's got to become, there has to be a way for that to become a habit. So it's not just
yes,
something they can come and get rid of overnight in one or two sessions. They need to create these habits and train themselves to speak differently than they've been speaking.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Now, what are some of the exercises that a person does, and what are some of the things that a person can start to do? Maybe even after coming away from this podcast today, what are some things maybe they can do on their own that could help them?
Sure. There are two quick things they can do. One is we're saying just now that most of times that most people are not connected with themselves. So the very first thing they can do to connect with themselves is to, for example, to put their 2 feet on the ground and barefoot to feel the ground. And if they're sitting, they feel that their buttocks are being supported by the seat.
Hmm.
So if they can do that, and they are more grounded, they are more connected now to their body. So that's one thing they can do. Or before they jump on a call, they can just close their eyes and feel the feet, feel the buttocks being supported. So we mentioned that voice is physical, voice is body work. So when they do that, they step into the process of getting in touch with their own body. So that's one thing they can do. And
That's
then
awesome.
the other thing is also to help them connect with themselves is that to, if they realize that they're holding their breath and speak, if this is how they sound, if they hold their breath and speak. And this can sound very normal because nowadays a lot of people are speaking this way until at the end, they realize they have to take a huge breath. So if
Yeah.
they realize themselves doing that, what they can do is as they speak, they started to breathe out more on certain words. They don't need to stop and then take a breath in. They can just purposely breathe out on one word.
And that's going to be much more impactful for the person that they're speaking to. We don't have to talk so fast. I believe that if people would be more mindful of their breathing, that you're mindful of your posture and you're mindful of your breathing, then that's going to automatically force you to slow down and speak with more impact and more authority.
Yes, that's right. So that's a very good observation from you, because it is this technique we're talking about to breathe out more air on one word. It helps you slow down. It also
Yeah.
helps you to start to speak with more impact, because now you're not monotone anymore. There's one word, you have more emphasis.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, these are two wonderful techniques, and this has been really informational. I feel very enlightened after speaking to you. Like I mean, again, being somebody who speaks and I've kind of studied a little bit of the voice. I've taken some vocal training for singing. It's something that I've kind of understood, but you've definitely breathed a lot more understanding into what the voice is all about and why we speak the way we do and why it's so important for a person to tap into their more powerful, authentic voice. So thank you so much. And now this doesn't stop here. I mean, I'm sure that there's many more techniques and things that people can do to improve their voice. And you're offering a free voice crash course on your website in order to help them with that?
Yes. Yeah. So they can go to my website, and then on my homepage, there is a 3-part free video lessons where I take them step by step to discover where is the potential in their voice and how they can develop that potential.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, so they can just go and sign up for this 3-part free voice crash course on your website, which is, let me just go back here again. Your website was powerfulexecutivevoice.com,
Yes.
and you can sign up for your free voice crash course, and that's going to help people to do some of these exercises. It's going to take them through some exercises to help them to tap into a more inspiring, powerful, and authentic voice.
Yes.
Cool. And then what else would you like to leave our listeners with today?
Uh, the other way is that they can go to my YouTube channel as well. So I have more than 150 videos where each video is talking about some voice problems or voice techniques. So they can just go to YouTube and search Cynthia Voice Coach. They should be able to find the channel.
Cynthia Voice Coach on YouTube. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really inspired by the work that you are doing. I think it's so important, and it's quite an interesting niche that you have created for yourself, that you've found a way to help people with this one really important aspect that most people don't even really think about
Yes,
until they get on a stage and they realize, oh my goodness, I don't really sound the way that I thought I sounded or that I'd want to sound, or somebody says, oh, you have a bad voice or whatever it is, and you help people with that. And I think it's a really important and wonderful thing that you're helping people to do. So thank you for your gift and your
thank
work in
you.
this world, and thank you for sharing with us and enlightening us on how important this is and how powerful it can be for our listeners here on the Power of Your Mind podcast.
Sure, thank you for having me.
Thank you.